before average, pays for himself, and it's like, "Why didn't you do this before and make it easier?" And the
Yep.
younger son is just a scholar, and, he was a rec league player, and, but so I've had both. My
Yep.
son started playing baseball, so when they get to the point where the kids could start pitching, and I think they could do, like, 3 innings,
Yep.
and so he's a pitcher, and then when he wasn't pitching, he's playing shortstop, and so as a parent, I'm nervous because despite how good you are, it's still not that good at that level,
Yeah.
you're not and, I wanted to ask him if he was nervous, but I didn't wanna ask him that way.
Right.
I phrased it, "Which position do you like playing better, pitcher or shortstop?" "Oh, I love to pitch, dad." "Well, okay,
Yep.
no problem."
Yep. Yeah. So I'll let you know. I just turned on the streaming and recording and let everyone know too. So clearly, two things are happening here. Number one, and I want to just briefly touch on this because, as I mentioned on the call, and I know Steve, you're a big Yukon guy as well.
Yeah,
Um, Jordan's furniture store up in the Northeast did a big promotion, and I just bringing it up because in 2004 they did
yeah,
a promotion that if the Red Sox won the World Series, you could
right,
earn free furniture. My wife and I did took advantage of that because I thought that was the best chance. We had a very good chance that year, and we got free furniture. And a
awesome.
lot, yeah. So that was amazing. And then last night, they had done another one this year that if UConn men and women made it to the Final Four, and if anyone doesn't know, UConn came back. I believe they were down 19 at the most during the
Yes,
game, but in the last few seconds, they stole a ball with about a couple seconds, with like a second and a half left, and hit a three-pointer from about 8 feet behind the three-point line, maybe 10 feet
right,
behind the three-point line,
you know,
and
set the
won on the
logo.
last second three-pointer by one
Mhm,
and upset number one Duke.
yeah.
So UConn women and men are both in the Final Four. So free furniture for Jordan's Furniture customers who bought it during that time. Congrats, if that's any of you. Also, it's baseball season is here. So my son's getting back in my son's little league season's about to start, and his club baseball season's about to start. My daughter's high school season's about to start, and yeah, we were just talking about baseball. So fun times.
On
To,
your daughter point,
yeah,
they have a, Major League, Women's Baseball League they started. I think it might be in 6 cities, but
yeah.
for baseball, not softball. Yeah.
There used to be a girl, and I don't. She used to play out of New York, Long Island. She was from Norwell, Mass, and I'm running a blank on her name, but I know it. And when we played against her, let's say she was 10 and 11, she was still as good as most of the 12-year-olds. And her dad had her playing in a baseball league out of New York, where he'd drive her
Yeah.
down, and that's where she'd play out of. But no, it's I don't know. My kids find it funny how much further a baseball goes when you hit it. My daughters and softball doesn't quite go as far off the bat, but the baseball comes in relatively harder. But considering the distance, because we used to joke around on the softball side saying the fence never gets bigger. It's little league distance for life.
Right.
So bases don't change, fence doesn't change. So if you can become a power hitter, your pop flies are home runs. So it is what it is. Um, Today, if we go back, I'm going to share my screen in a second, and you can just start showing what's going on in the market today. And let me actually bring up the right screen. There we go. Okay. Window. Where is?
One of the things Donnie talked about is his 2 time frames that he looks at.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking at the 1 hour and 30 minutes, um, sometimes more in the 30-minute. And he's talking about he'll chart the hour and then go to his lower time and see what matches up and
Yep.
concentrate on that area.
And today he kept on repeating that 4 hour is king. So his two time frames for today were the 4 hour and the 30 for
Yep.
anyone who's listening. This is one of the buys I got, one of the sells I got in on with Donnie today. We were talking, and it's a Euro USD 4 hour sell. So what we're doing is we got in on it. Where did I get in? I got in around like right here. I got in a little bit late on this one, but I was in on it earlier and then I got out. And then when it started to turn around, and then I jumped back in, and right now my stop loss is, I mean, my take profit is right down here. We're taking it to the back wall. But he did say that it could go all the way down to here. So I have an alert set right here, and I actually should change that to the 4-hour byline, just my note. So it says the right thing.
Yeah, you talked about between the candles with him.
Yep. Let me plug this in too so my computer doesn't end up having an issue. Yeah, so on Euro USD, 4-hour is where I'm living today. I do have that. If that does drop down to here,
Mhm.
that's a strong buy. So that's something I'm strongly paying attention to. Right now, I am going to let it close out if it hits to here, but if it continues down, then I'll
Mhm.
jump back in and probably around here. Another thing we talked about today is taking a look at the dollar index. Okay, so the dollar index being over 100 means we're back at the dollar equaling a dollar, which is great. So the numbers we were looking at today is if dollar, it's right now it's at 1.5. I'm actually going to stretch this out a little bit so you can see a little bit better. All right, so we're at 100.537. He said strong buys if it hits 100.604.
Correct. Right.
100.604. It's a strong buy. He also said strong buys are staying in effect all the way down to 100.1 was it 120? Yeah, so it's this wall right here. I think. Yeah, this one right here.
Right.
Where's the back right? Like right there. So I'm going to do an Alt J just for myself. And I'm going to drop it slightly below that, right? That's at the base. Yeah. So like 116, 120, right at that mark. That's what we're focusing on. As long as it stays above that, we're staying good on strong buys. And that's for gold. But gold especially, I have an alert set 100.604, very strong buy on gold.
Yep.
If I go back to this, yeah, see, I'm in a very small trade here. It's 21 cents right now. It's tiny. So, I mean, it's just, but it's just, again, too, learning. And this is on a very low balance account that I am just right now learning the process and getting very good at it so that then I can start trading much larger lot sizes on it. It's just making sure that I am consistently hitting in that 85 to 90% range is what I'm going for. I'll accept
Right.
anything 80 plus. My goal is 85 to 90. If we drop to gold, again, I'm on the 4-hour again. A lot of markups here on my chart. But we're at the back. Sorry, we're at the back wall right here. So again, just watching this could be a strong. I mean, that's a pretty good indicator for a buy, expecting it's going to turn around. But I do want to kind of watch it, considering it came down before, but it's only come down to about here, with this base roughly right here, and then this wick.
Right.
But you also have the 10 and the 20 behind it. So if it was to come back, I probably wouldn't go further than this area right here. So I'm just going to watch this for a minute and see what it does. I am preparing for a potential buy. Also, that dollar index, we're at 512. Again, looking forward to get to 604 is what I'm looking for. If that happens to spike up to 604, I'm going to get in on the buy nearly instantly.
Do you have an alert made for that?
Yeah, I have an alert on this right up here. And that's going to go off, and it's gold, strong buy on gold now. And it's 60, even though it looks like it's 607, it's set to 604. If I double click on it, there it is. And there's the expiration, end of the next month. And then there's that. And then I got rid of some of the sounds, but it's still going to pop up. Actually, I kept the sound on for this one. On gold, one of the trades that we took this morning on a call is, let me go down to the 30-minute. Einstein ended up making the call too. But we were watching it, and it was right around here. And I was watching, if I zoom in on this, So we were watching this right here and ended up, I asked Donna, would he be opposed looking at what's going on right here and the fact that it was holding? What would he feel about taking a sell down to the 10 moving average? And he liked it. So
And you,
yep. So we did it. And it ended up, honestly, it went right here and it fluctuated a lot. And I was very hard deciding not just to jump out of it because it kept on coming down to here and then going up to here and then going down to here and then going up to here and staying here. It fluctuated a lot for a long time during those 30 minutes in this time frame up here, and it looked like it could spike up, but it did go down and then eventually went even below the 20 and then continued down a little bit more over the next 30 minutes and now is on its way up. So this is actually a decent buy right now on the 30.
yeah. Yes.
And where are we at on that? So that's right off the front wall and the 4-hour. Did it hit the back wall? Yeah, it did. It went past the back wall. So that was a good. So I'm going to wait to see if it can pull back to this back wall
Mhm.
because I'm a little late. And you can see this white dotted line. That's the 50. That's the 50% mark on that. Actually, and this closed above it. So I haven't updated this. This is now a demand zone flipped once. This is on a 4-hour. Supply zone that flipped. If it closes below here, it'll flip back. This was a demand. That's still a demand zone because that candle's still live for another 2 hours, 24 minutes. So supply zone, once it eclipsed here, it was a demand zone. And then it closed above again. So that still stays a demand zone. And this candle's below, but it hasn't closed below. So this one is still considered a demand zone as well. So just to go over that with everyone, what we're talking about here, we have a rule that after it, if it gets breached 3 times, we get rid of it. But this one right here started off as a supply zone. Okay. And we can see right here, it closed above the supply zone. So at that point, it flips to a demand zone. This next candle closed above this supply zone right here, which flipped this one to a demand zone.
Mhm.
And while it did not close above this, so this one's going to remain a supply zone. And this one, even though it's on its way down and it's currently below both candles, it's active. And you can see down here, there's 2 hours, 23 minutes left in it. So until that closes below, we do not get rid of that. Where did that go? There it is. Okay. I accidentally deleted that. All right. Also, as I said, other things we check, every day is, first of all, we'll go to the news. Again, I'm focused primarily on the US and the euro. All right, for the euro right here, orange folder. CPI month over month for Germany. It's pretty much right on point with forecasts, so nothing big there. Dollar, Fed Chair Powell speaks. That's a red folder. I don't think he's going to be saying anything that's really groundbreaking, but I could be wrong. Then President Trump is due to speak. Do we know the timing on that yet? I saw that a couple things happened today. Number one being that Spain has closed its airspace to
Right.
U.S. planes. That's decent. That's a pretty big deal. Trump has threatened again to attack Kung Island in
Correct.
Iran there and attack their energy resources. And I heard while we were on the call with Donnie that Iran has started targeting and attacking smelting plants in the region.
Right.
So all of that could have an impact on anything. But as you see right here, we have a 250 points jump. Trump said serious talks to end operation in Iran. Again, personally, it seems like verbal fodder to make sure that
Right.
everything stays steady. It doesn't seem to have any merit behind it, but I am not in the conference room. I'm not in the boardroom, and I really have no way to know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying the way it looks from the outside looking in. So I would love to hear that. I mean, that would be great if that ends, but put some a little bit more stability in the market. As of right now, we don't have anything on that. All right, so gold, we just got a 15-minute alert on a buy. Okay, so we've already hit TP1 here. It looks like it almost hit TP2. That was at 10:38. That was a minute ago, so a little behind on that. I'm not jumping in and FOMOing this. It's way too late for me. But basically, I would have liked to, if I was going to be taking this, I probably would have waited to see if it came down to the 66 and then jump in. I wouldn't have just jumped in at this base. Although, if you can see it right here, if you're looking at it, this candle came down and then turned around right at that base. And this candle, it looks like it's doing the exact same thing. The question is, will this hold right here? Or will it spike up to there and then hold right about here? If it holds right about here, we can look for a short sell if we want to. How much time is left on this? 4 minutes, 40 seconds. So there's still a decent amount of time left on this candle.
Right.
I'm just looking at different time frames. So this one's going up to about the 20. Well, we have a demand. Well, that's a supply zone. This was a demand zone that got flipped into a supply zone. And this is on the 1 hour. So 1 hour supply zone flipped one. And I didn't turn this one around either. So this was the supply zone that got turned into a demand zone. You can see it's kind of staying between the 10 and the 20 and the two zones, but it looks like it's staying pretty true to those two moving averages.
Right.
What if we do this? Okay. Oil is over $102.40 or 39 cents. Very happy I got it last week. That would have been the brutes up to 108. Now, see that $6 difference? That's been as high as 10 to 14, depending on the timing over the past week. Now, this is up too, isn't it? It looks like it's down right now, but I thought that was up. Yeah, it was up. It had gone up. That's natural gas. I don't trade natural gas, but I like to pay attention to it.
Yep.
You know, we've told you too about silver. I'll just show you quickly. If we go to gold, this is where I'm living right here. So, I mean, you have a lot of boundaries. I'm just going to show you this. We're back on gold for a second on the 1 hour. But you have supply zone here. You have demand zone here. You have the 20 here. You have the 10 here. You have the 200 here, and you have the 66. So this range between here and here is where this is going to be living. So we have some condensed structure, but there's a decent amount of known based, excluding fundamental news, excluding something that's said. But we have a lot of decent structure here, so we have some predictability in what's going to be happening within the day, at least for the time being. Jump back to euro for a second. All right, so we're exhausted on the 1 hour. If we look at the RSI, we're down to 25. That's exhausted. It's not, it's just something to pay attention to, but this is going to keep on probably going down. Again, I'm focused on the 4 hour here. So the 4 hour, I'm playing it down to this back wall. If I do what Donnie said, and I hadn't been doing this, but if I'm going to have my 4 hour also be visible on my 30-minute.
Yep.
Let's see how this plays out. So I go to my 30. Yep. So when it comes down right to about, we'll see if it comes down right to about here. And there's still 15 minutes left, so we're only halfway through this candle. But we're living right inside this demand zone. And let's see up here. We had an E3 cross right here as well. Well, there's a couple of crosses. First of all, let's zoom out. First cross. Wow. Right here. Back on Thursday at 7 a.m. And the only thing, I mean, that one's moving. You see the 10 cross the 20. But the main three that we cared about on this initially was the 200, the 66, and the 20. They're all in that proper downtrend cross. And what we wait for is it to come back and cross over a trend before the cross is no longer where we treat it as it's no longer valid. Right here, it closed above the 20. So this is where we would have like got out right at this point from that cross bet. Or play, not bet. Sorry. March Madness inside my head still. But yeah, so there we go on that. I had said, so here's gold, and I'll just briefly play. Yeah. I have a demo trade going on right now on this. Continue. It's down $23 right now. I got in on a demo trade around here. And I was waiting for it to hit here. I got the back wall. It was just behind the back wall.
Yeah.
And I was seeing if it would come up, and it didn't.
Yep.
Like 50 miles away from where I was.
And then, let's see, just looking at silver, but just showing you guys how fast this is. Silver is even faster than gold. I'm not in on it, but this is something that Donnie has said too. That's where he has lost big before on silver. And one of the other things we talked about today too is, I like to see my charts and mark up my charts on a computer. I prefer a bigger screen. I don't feel like I can see enough on my phone. And so what I will do is go in here and find out what I want, or maybe even mark my trades or set alerts. And then I will go in on my trade on my phone to either close something out manually, or if an alert goes off, or to execute a trade based on an alert that goes off. Now, when I set the alerts right here in TradingView, they do simultaneously go off on my phone. So then I can just go into either TradingView or MetaTrader, depending on the broker I'm trading, and either execute or close that trade because everything is synced, which makes it nice and easy. But like Donnie, I do not like trading on my phone. I just like doing closes and executions based on alerts. I have lost 5 times I tried trading on my phone. I have lost for the day, so I don't do that. Yeah, I don't see anything huge happening here on the news front. Yeah, I don't see anything in addition adding to this. So we'll go back to here. That would have been a good trade off the 20.
Yep.
Even on the 4-hour, we're at the front wall right now. Went through, and this is what I've been marking up all of these on my templates lately with this line right here. So I do want to mark where the 50 line is.
Yep.
So I have front wall, back wall, and halfway mark through the demand zones. And it just kind of gives me a good marker. And you can see right here, the 50 kind of held on those 2 candles right there. And it held on this wick. And actually, it's pretty consistent. You pretty much have back wall, front wall, and 50 on a lot of these wicks. Yeah, and I'm not getting in on this in any sort of buy or anything right now. I'm just waiting for the pullback. On this, ideally, I like to see it come all the way back down here to that back wall right at the 20.
Yeah, right.
If it did go up to here, I mean, it just hit the 10. I wouldn't jump in on this personally right now, just because I'm not at a point. I think you could take a quick buy if you had a nice lot size, but to me, it just really wouldn't be worth it to take a quick sell. I mean, it would make some short money, but to go from here down to here, I mean, you could bounce here, you could turn around here, you could turn around here, you could turn around here. There's just a lot of condensed space that I really don't want to operate in
Right.
right now. And I also wouldn't be surprised if it goes up to the 200 and then turns around. So actually, you know what? I haven't even talked about this yet. Donnie had talked about it completing. That was Euro USD though, didn't he? Completing the head and shoulders pattern.
Yes.
All right. Was that on the 4 or the 1?
I don't recall
was
the
on a
time frame.
I think it was the 4. Yep. All right. So right here, your head and shoulder goes up. And then we're coming down. So like this base would be the bottom of it. And then where he expects it to turn around. So that's one of the reasons he was saying take the sell. And this is why I'm in that sell. The decision was take the sell down here. Let me go back and put that back where it was. Okay, take the sell down to the back wall. I already have a take profit set. As I said, if it goes through, the next two things we care about is this, which is a daily 4-hour and 1-hour low for the last 2 weeks. And then we have this buy line down here at 13,619, 1.13619. Personally, I like to see gold push up because like from that buy I got in earlier, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that right now. So right now this is at $11. This is that demo bet I made.
Right.
I keep on saying bet. The demo trade I made.
Trade.
My take profit is where? It's up here, right at the top of this. And I talked to Donnie about this too. I said, you know, if you were getting in on this trade, would a good take profit be right at this base of these previous two candles? And he said, yeah. So that's what I'm looking at on this. This is on a 1 hour. We still have, how much time is left on this 1 hour? Eight minutes. We also, I mean, just pointing this out as well, we do have an engulfing candle. So this candle is an engulfing candle to this one. So most of the time, this would continue to be a bearish candle and negative. I quite frankly wasn't expecting it to take this long. I was expecting it to go up there about 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, I thought it would move a lot quicker. Be more
Exactly.
volatile today.
Yep. A little bit stuck right there. So again, I'm just in a holding pattern. Sorry, it's not as exciting as jumping in and out of trades, but definitely in a holding pattern. This Euro USD drawback 19 cents. As you can see, it's just 0.01. This is a small balance account that I have. Let's push it up a little bit. What is the mark on that? So I said, so that is at 45.69.45. Okay, so that's above the 200. What about on the 4 hour? Right at about the 50. So, I mean, that's something I'm going to have to watch too. I mean, there's also, that's a pretty strong resistance line, the 200 on the 1 hour. So that's a little bit closer. My take profits right around here. So I might have to see how it reacts to this 200. If it turns around, I'll just get out at the 200. RSI though, if we're taking a look at it down below here, RSI did a V correction and it's heading up towards Jerome.
Right.
and we're above the 50. So the 50 is not going to be an issue. It's just, is it going to hit Jerome? And what's it going to do at the daily high above 50? So those are the two things we're paying attention to there. On the 4 hour, how's the RSI look here? I like to blow it up so I can see it better. So we're in a
Yep.
reverse V correction. So the 4 hours selling, heading towards the 50 and heading towards Jerome, which is the 10. And so they're probably going to meet right around here. But that's not till 1 p.m. So we'll see if that stays true to that exact same shape. You see, we had a V correction here, slight V correction here. But I mean, this is a strong V, and that's a pretty strong V. That's kind of weaker.
Mike, you might have an 11 o'clock appointment coming up. I do.
Yep.
Got to do a little prep for it.
Okay.
We can work on wrapping things up.
Yep. Sounds
One
good
of
to
the
me.
things I'd say today is that it's worth paying attention to the gold and the dollar today. There could be some excellent opportunities to make a profit.
Yep. And as we've said before too, I mean, this is what people need to understand is you just get in the game and just listen and then get on the calls and just copy what Donnie says, and you're going to just be profitable while you're learning. But again, have a demo account, have a small balance account, just play with a few and learn, but just copy what he says and model what he says, and you will do great. So with that, thank you guys very much. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back Wednesday. But if anyone has any questions, please let us know. Please reach out. Please comment in the comments below on any of these platforms. And lastly, join us on the quest. The opportunity is just too big. Again, we're going from 250 to $1 million, as long as it takes, documenting the process. We're not providing any sort of financial advice here. We're just documenting the journey, and happy to have you along with us. So, Steven, thank you very much. Congrats. Go UConn again.
Yeah.
And everyone. Yeah.
And that you won on the furniture in the past, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was exciting, and I considered it this year because I thought there was a very strong chance the women would be there, and I thought there was a
Yes.
strong chance the men would get to the Elite Eight. I just wasn't sure if they could get through a Michigan, an Arizona, or a Duke.
Right.
That's what I was uncertain of.
Yeah.
So I didn't jump in this year, but I should have.
I read something about that. They actually hedge that, so they buy insurance.
Yep.
So the store is not out the money.
Right.
And they
But it gets a lot
consider actually, they look at, so next year, if they offer something like that again, or they do it when baseball again, they expect more participation because people won.
Yeah, and the other thing too, they just have to make it. Like a couple of years ago, it was so obnoxious that it was nearly impossible it was going to happen. And if you know
Right.
sports at all, it's like, yeah, there's no way that's happening. But this year I thought there was a good chance. It probably got people
Correct,
back
exactly,
engaged.
yeah,
It was great.
yeah.
But with that being said, everyone, thank you. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to end recording. So let me end the stream first.